Hi, everyone. So I wanted to share with you today a little bit about my journey. I'm someone who recognized in her early 40s that, it's really important for me to learn to trust myself after years of listening to a spiritual teacher. And mind you, I met my spiritual teacher as a foreigner in a foreign country. I was born in Israel and I came to the US when I was 20, not even. And I met him when I was 23, right after I graduated from college, from the New England Conservatory of Music. I was playing with New World Symphony, and like, boom, first week of rehearsals, I'm meeting this magical being. And all of a sudden it dawned on me that maybe I moved to Miami Beach to meet this person. Like, it was a really big inner call to go in the direction of connecting with this person, because it was very different from where I thought my life was heading. And I wasn't necessarily calling in a spiritual teacher in a conscious way. And that was a really powerful journey for me, and I've zero regrets for any part of it. Zero, because it was right for me. It was a beautiful experience. I met a lot of beautiful people. And I learned a hell of a lot. And I expanded my awareness, expanded my way of seeing myself. So from a classically trained cellist who thought that she's going in a certain direction, I started entertaining other kinds of jobs that I would have never thought of to be able to support my community. Some of you probably know what they are. And it's amazing because it was a lot of expansion in my journey. My spiritual journey was all about getting beyond identity. And, and for years, I've had the desire to just support that community, to be a part of it, to be like an integral part of the life of my teacher, whom I loved very much, still do. He's not in his body anymore. He passed in 2019. But I still think of him all the time. He's still a big part of my development as a human. So when I was about to turn 40, and actually the whole year just before 40, 39, I started feeling like something needs to change. I didn't quite know what and how. But living in the ashram and continuing to support the way that I was for so many years throughout my 20s and 30s, I knew that it needed to change intuitively. And eventually I found myself moving out, and then I also moved to the West Coast after 18 years. Oh, sorry. After 21 years of living in the East Coast. I was in Boston for 3 years and then Miami for 18. And then when I moved to LA, I started at 40, how old was I? 42. I started journeying with cannabis. And this is after years of being under a lot of powerful spiritual teachers and ashrams, no interest and no awareness of that kind of, journeying with a plant, like connecting with a plant. I mean, I had a few times where I smoked, but it was very sort of just experimenting. I didn't really necessarily feel like I wanted more of that. But when I came to LA and I was living by myself, and I was already starting to feel like some of my peers around my teacher didn't really approve of the fact that I did what I felt was right. I wasn't necessarily like continuing with the same old program where I'm supposed to like do only what I'm told is okay for me to do. So I was starting to break free slowly. My teacher was still alive and everything, but there was like this element of like Ruti's basically giving herself permission to do her thing, which was considered negative. Doing your thing, it was considered a negative thing. So then I remember when I started connecting with cannabis, and I know many people are going to listen to this, they're going to be like either judging me or thinking that this is dangerous, or like, should we take her seriously? Like, everyone has a completely different completely different idea about this, and I don't really care, because the truth is I'm gonna tell my story anyways, because there's nothing wrong with my story. And yes, I'm not my story, but it's through the story that we grow. Absolutely. So I moved into a space where I realized that I have nothing to hide. That's when I started feeling called to talk about the parts of my life that I wasn't comfortable talking about before, including the job that I was doing before, which was exotic dancing. As a classically trained musician who went to the New England Conservatory of Music, played with the New World Symphony, studied with amazing teachers like Lawrence Lesser. I've been in the creme de la creme of the music world, not to mention in Israel with the Youth Israel Philharmonic Orchestra, the people that I played with, and the concert halls that I played in, and the friends that I have that are succeeding in their career. They're all like big names, right? So I'm coming from that world. Then all of a sudden I am finding myself like, where am I in all this? I've been in a place where I chose to have a guru at 23 years old and put aside my cello performance career after my dad spent like almost 80 grand on my school, and I moved to a foreign country, and I'm doing everything like completely, it's almost like so what's the word? It's like I was just going with the flow, I was totally going with the flow. And my teacher was a student of Osho. So Osho is also another very like powerful deconditioning teacher. And so starting to journey with cannabis got me to connect the dots back to myself, back to the fact that I am a differentiated being, a worthy differentiated being, and that there's a reason why I'm here, and that I have to remember myself. I absolutely have to remember myself. And, you know, I started sharing with my family about being an exotic dancer for years, where they didn't know. And I was like, well, that was necessary for my growth. That was part of my way of learning. There's nothing to feel bad about it. And then I started sharing with them about journeying with cannabis, you know, and then this is like, imagine, like, and they've already known that I've had a guru since I was 23 in a foreign country, and all these things that were very shocking. Like, it's almost like I was born to challenge the status quo. And and then no wonder I had a difficulty with my voice. I had a difficulty speaking up for so many years, because I didn't know that it's okay to be the way I am. I didn't know that I'm meant to be unique. I didn't know that I'm meant to be myself. I didn't know that, you know, that's the beauty of being in a body. That's the beauty of being yourself. So thank God for the choices that I've made that helped me to get to know myself more. And then, not to mention, human design. Human design came at that moment when I was starting to connect the dots to myself. I'm like, I need to make sense of this life. I need to understand who the fuck I am. Why am I here? What is my role and my gift to humanity? Because I thought that I was meant to, like, serve in spiritual community and be a part of something big and disappear into the hole and be quiet and be a good girl and do what I'm told, and then everything will be fine for a long time. Until I realized that sovereignty doesn't work that way. Sovereignty works from deep self-recognition, deep self-realization, deep self-awareness. And the self, in the way that we are taught in the spiritual communities, you know, you have to realize that the higher self, the self that's aligned with source, that's aligned with the creator, that self is divine. It's absolutely godly. And you can easily lose touch with that when you outsource you're looking for someone else who's going to make you feel good about that. Unfortunately, I can tell you that it doesn't work like that. In my perspective, in my experience, in my truest experience. And I'm a 1-3 splenic projector. 1-3 is a profile that is here to learn everything as deep as possible from experience, from first-hand experience. First-hand experience. So I'm very passionate to share this with the world, to expose myself to the world, to not be afraid of my truth, not be afraid of my story, not be afraid of my life, not be afraid, period. You know, and my friend was asking me the other day, who would you bow to when you're about to die? Like, what's your authority? And I would say it's the higher self. It's the higher power. It's the connection. It's the ultimate connection with a higher power, which is not separate. So you're bowing to that within yourself, because we are connected to the whole. We are connected to the ultimate. So it's quite the journey to be able to share it this way and expose it and feel comfortable. And I want to support anyone else who needs to liberate themselves in the way that they're showing up. They need it's like you are so, we are all here to show up as ourselves, but sometimes we need the permission slip to show up as ourselves. Human design does that. It gives you that permission slip. And the people who are working with human design system on a day-to-day basis, they are the ones who can really support you with that. So if you need someone who's gonna remind you of that, then it's me. I'd love to help you with that. There's many other practitioners. They're all going to share with you their story, their unique lens. They're gonna encourage you the same, you know, with the same idea, but every one of us has a different frequency. So you have to really see which frequency you gravitate towards, and that would be your support system. So I'm basically offering a support system. And I created a modality for this support system. It's called aura tuning. And aura tuning will help you. It will help you understand yourself better. It will help you see your blind spots and understand the combination of your unique mechanics, your centers, how they operate together, what you want to watch, what you want to be aware of, what you need to pay attention to, what you need to bring more love in. There's so much. There's just so much. And that's the beauty, is that actually here you have someone who cares about the complexity of you. That's what human design brings us, is that it shows us the magic of understanding our unique complexity and how we're all deserving to love it. Love this complexity. What can you do with your complexity? Just become more aware, bring more awareness, more time of reflection, more time of surrender, and deep conversations with other people on the path. So I'm looking forward to share on this level. I have Scorpio North Node, so I'm all about very deep, intimate, emotional, intense relationships with everybody that I work. So I'm inviting you, and it's all related to transformation. So I'm definitely inviting you to contact me if you feel called. I'm going to leave all of the information underneath this video, and I'm looking forward to connecting. Bye.